I'm Lily and I'm at 8 Wing CFB Trenton with
Captain Josh Moffat, a pilot instructor on the C130J model C130 Hercules.
Okay, and can you give us a brief description of where we are?
We're in the simulator room. As you can see behind us, there are two full motion simulators that are used up to 16 hours a day, training flight crews from all over the world.
Okay, and behind us, what is the simulator of?
It's the exact replica of the CC-130J flight deck.
Okay, and what is that plane? What does it carry?
It's the 4-engine turboprop that we use all over the world to carry troops, supplies, and equipment to wherever Canadian Forces personnel are located.
Can you give us a history of how the simulators were created and why they're invented?
Basically, the simulators behind us, we've been using them here in Canada for over 3 years. When we bought the C130J, the simulator program was designed. The big thing about simulators, they allow you to replicate any certain emergencies and conditions that you do in the aircraft without actually having to burn fuel in the aircraft. So they're a lot more economical and a lot safer to run emergencies in.
Okay, and what company manufactures these simulators?
These are made by CAE in Montreal.
Okay, and how much does it cost?
They're in excess of millions of dollars.
Oh wow. And so there's the equipment itself and also the program, so the visual of what the pilots see. Are they manufactured by the same company?
Yes, they work in conjunction with our military folks, and we basically request any kind of scenery, conditions that we fly in around the world, and they'll develop the programming and the visual screens to replicate the conditions.
Okay, and we understand there's civilian and military aircrafts. Are there simulators for both?
Here is only the military aircraft, the CC-130J. The other airframes in the CF have simulators located in various places around the world.
Okay. And just in general, are there simulators for every single aircraft out there or just the main ones?
Every aircraft has a simulator of some sort. The J model Hercules, these are state-of-the-art, the best simulators that we have in the Canadian Forces.
Okay, so you're a pilot instructor yourself. How long did it take for you to get here?
I've been in the military now for 18 years.
Oh, wow.
And I've been flying Hercules for 15 of those. I started out as first officer for a couple of years and then upgraded to aircraft captain on the old model Hercules. And I've been on the new aircraft for approximately 2 years. So it's a long process, but in the end it pays off.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks. Let's take a tour of these facilities now.
Okay. This room here, we have 3 of them, is the individual procedures trainer. Basically, it's a full mock-up of the C-130J cockpit, which the initial pilot students come in and learn where all the switches are, how to program the flight computer, how to deal with emergencies. We can simulate all kinds of emergencies in here. So the first step of their training is they come in here and do 10 early lessons in here before they move on to the bigger devices, meaning the tactical flight training device and then the actual simulators themselves. So they go through everything here first, and then they graduate to the actual simulator, and then they repeat the same exercises in the actual simulator before they move to the airplane where they do the exact same thing. So this is a fully functioning, basically, cockpit of the C-130J.
So what was the event we just witnessed?
This is a Aeromedical evacuation course. What they do here is they train for real-life aeromedical evacuations that they do in the field and in the theater of operations. So they practice with the equipment here. The fuselage trainer that you see behind us is a full mock-up of the C-130J fuselage. So everything inside there is replicated from the aircraft. So they get to practice real-life situations in a non-threatening environment to hone their skills before they actually go do it in the real world.
So today was practice number 1 for our floor load for our aeromedical evacuation students. So basically we are in a tactical situation anywhere in the world, and we have to pick up a bulk number of patients that we're not aware of the number. So the fastest way of doing it is actually putting them on the floor and flying out as fast as we can.
Okay, and I see you did this on a certain aircraft model fuselage. And do you guys practice on different models?
Here on the course we have the CC-130J, which is one of our primary platform, and also the CC-150, the Airbus, is our second platform that we teach here on the course.
And for these students and nurses in the background, how long have they been training for to get where they are today?
Right now, if my memory is correct, we're on week number 7 or 8, but the course is 10 weeks long, so we're looking at the end shortly.
At 426 Squadron here, I work as a loadmaster instructor on the CC-130J.
Okay, and what does that position entitle you to do?
Mostly entails pre-flight duties and loading and unloading of cargo and passengers. This is a fuselage trainer. So the real CC-130J could take off at 164,000 pounds, so be determined by the fuel load. So upwards of, up to possibly 42,000 pounds of freight.
Wow. And when you guys practice loading things on and off the planes, what kind of equipment do you use?
We use all this equipment that's over here, loaded with a forklift, airdrop platforms, and standard palletized freight.
And we see the fuselage behind us, but we know that it's connected to your simulator. Can you tell us how that is?
It's a great training device. In here, the load masters, who are the cargo specialists, they build all the aircraft loads that you see in the building. So they practice with their students building a delivery system, heavy equipment airdrop. And what we can do with the pilot students is we have a device, a tactical flight training device that links up with the simulator. So when the pilots flip switches in the front, it replicates in the back, so it's almost a full life scenario. One switch starts the engine. So, and it's again, it replicates the whole aircraft. We can do there's a lot of emergency you can have on start, like you can have an engine fire, you can have a really hot temperature start. So the simulator basically replicates any emergency that potentially happen in the aircraft. We can replicate it here, so the students get to see every emergency in the simulator before they actually could encounter it in the airplane. So it's very efficient that way. So I'll do a power up takeoff here, and then I'll release the brakes and we'll go check out the mountains. So it might be a little rough here as we release the brakes, but there we go. It's pretty windy. So you can see we're airborne off of Jasper Hinton here. So this route here is basically we departed Jasper Hinton, which when we go to Edmonton, it's one of the airports we teach the students to go into. We do a mountain route basically from Abraham Lake, just Rocky Mountain House, around through the mountains and then back into Jasper Hinton. And we do that a couple times after they've done it twice in this simulator. And what we've seen is the replication in the simulator is very close to the actual scenery that you'd see out in the Rockies.
What's the big difference between flying in the Rockies versus flat terrain?
Big thing is obviously if you have a malfunction or an issue, you don't have as many options with the higher terrain. So you want to make sure you always brief a way out in case the weather gets bad, because you don't want to be in cloud, not being visual with the mountains. So we teach them how to do special turns to if the weather comes
Terrain
in.
ahead.
And we have warning systems as well, as you see there, that let us know that there's mountains and terrain.
Terrain ahead.
So that's very good.
Terrain, pull up.
So these are some of the warning things you can get.
Terrain, pull up.
I'm gonna get rid of that. Alright, so now it's not gonna tell me that. But we have all kinds of warning systems, obviously, that warns of the terrain. And generally when we're doing this mountain route, we're down at 200 feet. So I'll just descend us into the river valley here. And generally the controls are very similar to what the aircraft feels like. So as I said, when the students come to the flight line, they're very comfortable with the aircraft. It's great technology. So. So we're descending down to 200 feet, which is one of our tactical levels that we fly at. keeps us hidden from any threats, whatnot. And we usually fly around 210 knots, which is about 250, 60 miles an hour, which converted to kilometers is well over 500. So, see, the airplane's quite good. What I'll do is I'll just turn us around. I'll demonstrate a quick kind of climb and turn that we teach the students here. It's a box canyon turn, so if they get stuck in the wrong valley, they know how to get out of it. We do have a moving map that follows the aircraft. We don't have it available today. However, when they're in the aircraft, they have a moving map that they can follow. So I'll do a maneuver here.
Throttle. Throttle.
So that's the auto throttle's kicking off. So let's demo that.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
So that was basically just a quick climb and escape maneuver to do a 180-degree turn in the mountains. So what I can go do now is I'll take us back to Jasper and then do a landing. What I'm looking through now is what's called the heads-up display, which basically, information-wise, it'll tell me my altitude, airspeed, altitude above ground, my navigation direct to how to get to the airport. And basically, I look through the screen, I can still see outside, but I'm looking through the data, like the airspeed and altimeter. And so we don't have to look down at a screen anymore. We can actually focus our attention outside, which is very critical when you're down at low level. It's great technology. You can display a lot of things on it. So it takes a while to get used to it. I flew an airplane that didn't have it. It takes practice, but we train them from day one to get used to using all the features of the heads-up display. And once everyone figures it out, they don't want to go back to a standard looking at your screen that you see down below.
Yeah.
So they'll bring us in for an overhead brake arrival. It's a visual recovery. Basically, we come at the airfield at our en route speed, up to 45 degrees of bank, rejoin the traffic pattern, and then do a full stop landing. It's a method of quick recovery rather than doing a traditional kind of civilian circuit pattern. So the airfield's over there. You can see a couple lights. So I'm basically paralleling it right now at 1,000 feet, and I'll do my arrival. What the simulator is capable of with liaising with CAE, the civilian manufacturers, we just basically tell them what we'd want for imagery and weather conditions, and they'll set it up for us. We do have some Afghanistan symbology or imagery, so they can practice taking off at the high altitudes, and the airplane responds as if it was actually in the desert, hot weather operations. We also go up to the Arctic frequently, so we can replicate blizzard scenarios, icy runways, crosswinds, Arctic conditions as well, and then normal day-to-day stuff as well. So you name it, we can basically probably replicate it in here with a bit of programming from CAE.
Shadow love, oh yeah, shadow love.
Yang reporting to you from Trenton, Ontario for the NAS program. We'll see you next time.